Hey, what's up, fam? The 2 week wait is finally over, at least, well, until you finish reading this chapter. But for now, we got a new fairy tale chapter to read, Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, chapter 19, From the Abyss. So, a very weird and ominous title that was probably be very confusing if you hadn't read the Raws. Like I said before, so I normally do videos right after this chapter comes out in Japanese because I buy the chapters, but I won't be able to moving forward because I won't be able to make it because by the time the chapters come out, I've already left to go to work. But if you want spoilers, I do post them on my Twitter shortly after they come out in Japan. So if you still want spoilers, I'm going to put a link in the description if you want to follow me on Twitter, and you can get spoilers early on. And if you just you want to figure out what happens right after the chapter comes out. But let's talk about the obvious thing that happened before the chapter really kind of cut out. So obviously the water dragon god, when he was starting to get a little bit more riled up, pulled his sea out of, really the water. All the water he controlled, he pulled directly up, put it in the sky, condensed it down, and showed how he really fights. Now, the crazy thing is, when you remember what potentially his sea is, it's enough water to affect that entire enclosed area where Elmina is, to where he's bringing in water to raise it up, probably 100 or so meters in the air and completely engulf Elmina. Now, this is definitely a really impressive feat, but he goes on further and it shows pretty much how he fights. Now, I thought it was going to be more like he wraps water around his body, kind of like how dragon slayers usually use their elements, and just kind of use it various ways. This is different. He creates kind of like this large eclipse ceiling of water and uses it in various ways. The first version, he makes like these condensed hydro beams. Like we know, water with condensed enough, pressurized enough, can practically cut through anything. But now he's using them essentially now as these large airborne turrets, which is really cool. Natsu goes in to try and attack, and he uses it in a different way where he pretty much makes like this big softer wave of water to just absorb anything that comes in. Natsu's trying obviously to get around it, swimming through the water, comes out, charges up a Fire Dragon King roar, launches it, and Mercphobia just opens his mouth, uses his own Dragon Roar, and just fires a water blast that makes Natsu's Fire Dragon King roar look like nothing, sends him right back into the water. And that part wasn't really that surprising to me. It's what kind of happens immediately responding for Natsu. But back to it, we have Gray who manages to freeze one of the water beams, which also is super impressive. The fact that he was able to completely neutralize that level of energy, though it's only from one beam, it's still very impressive, just given the fact of who it is. Yeah, he's bringing it up. He's making this cool stairs around the water pillar he froze, and Mercphobia just says nope, turns all that ice back into water. Again, being able to control the water around him, manipulate it to his liking. Natsu comes out wall of the seawater, charges up actually a exploding flame blade, but surprisingly enough, I figured he was just going to take the attack and it was going to do no damage or maybe a tiny bit of damage. But Mercphobia seemingly turns into water, and at first I also thought, well, at first I thought the damage. I don't know why I was going to say at first twice. Make no sense. Following after that, I figured that maybe he just coated himself with water, but looking at his teeth and the fact that he's clear, I imagine that seemingly clear. I imagine that he turns into water, especially the way that it looks when Natsu's standing on him. Though, it could just be a water layer. I still think he turned into water. It just looks like it, at least from that panel. But then just kind of after seeing Natsu trying to attack him, he creates like this big maelstrom above him and sucks him into the water. And when I said that the surprising bit following, obviously there's a much more surprising bit when I get to the very end, but I'm surprised that Natsu took a direct hit from Merc's Water Dragon Roar, his Water Dragon God Roar, and though took damage, was able to keep fighting. So that really spells a lot of how much stronger Natsu is, though we know Dragon Slayers, their biggest thing is durability, but this is definitely a huge step to show how strong Natsu is, the fact that he's still standing from this. And everyone just kind of like shouting it where it looks like he was sucked in, and at the end it looks like they're like, oh no, we've lost him, but it really is what happens when Natsu gets brought back out by a dragon hand. He says, "This one is mine, Water Dragon God. I won't hand him over to you." Now, there's obvious questions looking at the arm, and that's going to be pretty much the rest of this video is talking about the potential of that arm, because a lot of people look at it and think the obvious of just the way that the design of that dragon arm is. It could be Igneel, but given the fact that, or if you look at his hands, the black pattern on it with Igneel were diamond colors on the red scales, whereas this one is more this fiery color. It could easily be Igneel. Wendy's there. It could have been Milky Way, though I don't think so, given her reaction. She looks very shocked. Maybe she was shocked it worked. I don't think so. It could be something to do with the Magna Carta. Now, this is what I think, though, personally. There's obvious theories of how things can go, but where I would really put it as it is the Water Dragon God, the Fire Dragon God, because if you look at the silhouettes, one of the Dragon Gods were shown, there's definitely one that seems very fiery, given his horns and his wings, that it's in the middle, just right to Mercphobia. And if he's related to Igneel is what'll be more kind of interesting. How is he going to relate to Natsu? If so, what exactly is going to happen? Is it going to be that he sees him as a fire dragon slayer? He sees it potentially as being related to him in a way. Is maybe he knew Igneel, and in the 400-year gap, he became the fire dragon god, and maybe he, though is stronger now, he still respects Igneel given who he was. A lot of theories really to go over, and that's going to be the fun part over the next 2 weeks. Is though usually the wait can hurt, knowing like the last one, it was what's going to happen now that the Water Dragon God is getting serious. What's going on with Toka? She just wiped the floor with the entire Fairy Tail Guild that was there. You look back to the chapter before that, it's like, how are they going to fight this guy? It goes that way every single week, but this one is much more of a who this is chapter. You're going to be thinking about the fight. You're still going to be wondering what's going on with Fairy Tail and Toka. There's still like, how are they going to beat the Water Dragon God? But just this very last panel, and really last page, but then the dialogue, obviously, of the very last panel just makes it so much more interesting. The fact that this potentially could be another fire dragon. If so, how is he going to affect Natsu? Is he going to train him in maybe some new abilities that Igneel never taught him, or maybe something he himself has developed? Could be a purgatory dragon. We know that's a thing. We know that from God Serena, because him having more of an oceanic or sea king or large aquatic creature, just a variant of water, a higher level. Whereas he also had purgatory, closer to Atlas Flames specific style, or something like this, where it could just be like a super advanced fire dragon god. And that's definitely going to be what to really think about in the next couple weeks. And I'm definitely going to be thinking about the potential of if it is Igneel, or if it's the fire dragon god who's related to Igneel. It could also just be a fire dragon that has existed. But I think if it's just some random fire dragon, he wouldn't be able to just to kind of get into Mercphobia's water like that. I think the reason that it's potentially the fire dragon god who is related to Igneel in some way, from the fact that he was able just to kind of go through, get into and just resist Merc's water and the whirlpool as seemingly easy as he did. But that's just going to be it. All speculation for the next 2 weeks until we find out what exactly is going to happen. It's definitely going to be a very exciting, very nerve stimulating chapter in 2 weeks from now. Definitely one. Just opening up those first pages, seconds after it probably comes out, is probably going to be really exciting. Just what's going to happen, I'm going to find out. The 2 week wait is, after waiting to see it, now we got it. But other than that, drop a comment below and what you think of this. It was a fun chapter, mostly action packed, but we definitely got a really nice bit at the end. So it just didn't feel like we waited 2 weeks to read 20 pages of action. We did get something that has a lot of potential weight in the story, a lot of potential shift in really characters for the character for Natsu in a large scale of if he's related to Igneel or if he somehow is Igneel. What's going to happen. All right, now, like I said, drop a comment below on what you think about this chapter and what you think about all this. as well as I really appreciate it if you like this video to befriend the like button, thumbs it up, thumbs up the video, and if you haven't yet, to subscribe to my channel, check out more of my other videos. I do mostly stuff like Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, Black Clover, but I do other manga as well, so you can see within there if there's something you like. So, other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.